Stop!
Hi everyone, my name is Artur Kurasiński, and for over 10 years I've been observing and explaining how technology influences us, people and society. I'm greeting you from the studio inside the Innovation Campus in Warsaw, Poland. The podcast series is called Early Adopters Nook, where we invite innovative startups to talk about their product and how it's changing the world. My today guest is Arnold Wierzejski, CEO of SeeThings. How are you doing, Arnold?
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm doing quite fine in
All right.
such times,
Circumstances.
but yeah, I don't have anything to complain about. So
All right.
it's good.
Cool. And this is my first question for you. We provide intelligent solution for IoT, 5G, and edge computing. This is a text from your website. A lot of buzzwords. Can you explain more simply what you guys do?
I was myself a lot perplexed at using so many buzzwords in one sentence, but in its pure essence, this is exactly what we do.
All right.
So sounds provocative, but if you as a business owner run your business in this like old school fashion, you are nowadays reaching a point where either you will adapt to digital world or you will be left behind. So then you are, instead of like building your own like R&D or IT departments and so on, you're looking for guys like us who can enable you and allow you to see things differently, but also allow you to connect things to enter this digital world. And it means in different domains, right? Whether it's about IoT hardware, whether it's about cloud software, cloud infrastructure. So we just are a bunch of passionate guys with quite some experience that are able to deliver such solutions in general. So I can talk hours. We have some examples, I believe, soon about those. But yeah, in its essence, this is what we do. We know how to do 5G in like wide range of use cases. We know how to connect sensors. We know how to build applications in the cloud. And we combine this together, and there is a value.
All right.
Yeah.
So, SeeThings is more like hardware or software company?
So lucky for us, both. And I think this is a unique spot because usually you have hardware house or a software house. We can do both. And the funny thing is that it's not only about like representing 50 shades of gray, but also to represent a full palette of colors. Meaning, if there is a business problem, if there is a challenge to optimize certain processes, then you don't only need to know how to do IoT sensor networks, how to do the hardware, but your application has to understand the hardware, has to understand the environment. And then your application has to respond to certain expected user stories and scenarios, and also business schematics and stuff like this. So you need to combine competence to consult the use case, consult the problem, business-wise.
Yeah.
Whether it's economically viable to do this way or another way. And then to answer this, I mean, we are not outsourcing to other companies. We are designing, prototyping, developing, delivering, and integrating this ourselves. Sounds like a lot, but if you gather people with experience that were doing this for corporates, for other companies, it's out of the sudden like seems possible. And this is what we do.
Okay. So you guys do impossible for breakfast.
Yeah, for some like more advanced miracles, we need at least few weeks, but impossible for breakfast.
Cool. One of your products are smart covers of manholes. Oh my God, manholes, smart manholes.
Yeah, this
you have to tell me more about it.
This one is great, and it will sound awful, but manholes are sexy in the sense of business wise. Like
shoot me, come on.
Look around you. You have each 70 meters. You have a manhole in your road.
Yeah, at least one. Yeah,
at least one. So business wise, it's a huge, very scalable use case.
So there's potential.
There's a potential, especially that there are regulations that are backing this potential up, and there's a real problem. The problem in the domain of sustainable urban development. Maybe in Warsaw we don't see this that much yet, but where we are installing the pilot of the solution, mainly Denmark, Sweden, they're very crazy about it. So how to support your utilities management departments, how to support smart urban development moving forward in upgrading basically very old school sewage systems. So one example, 2011 Copenhagen, city at the shore side, right? So you would not expect that in 2 hours you will have 150 millimeters of rain. So basically
everything was
covered with water, and it's a seaside.
Yeah.
So public infrastructure, a lot of old houses, a lot of nice places were underwater. So they started to think about how to avoid such situations moving forward. There was a lot of think tanks, a lot of studies, and so on. They have calculated that basically the cost of doing nothing for them in one single city is around 55 million euro per year.
Wow.
So you need to modernize your sewage systems. You need to install smart solutions. You need to redesign basically city infrastructure.
Yeah, which is very hard and expensive.
Exactly, but before you will do that, you need to solve a blind man problem. I mean, you need to see what's the problem. You need to understand the problem. To understand the problem, you need to start to measure the stuff.
You have to have data.
You need to have data, and the only way to have a meaningful data, because this is also important, meaningful data, you need to have data from many distributed sources. And when it comes to sewage systems, those manholes are just great spots to gather that data. So to sum this up, business-wise, potential is huge. There are regulations, there are actual problems that this answers, and it's just sexy for investors
and profitable.
For and let's hope so that it will be profitable, right?
All right. What is Industry 4.0 and how does it relate to your company?
I spent some time in my previous positions, mainly working for corporates, to understand, analyze how telco business, how radio communication, how 5G can work in the domain of Industry 4.0. And basically, there is this surface of fancy solutions, fancy applications. We are talking a lot about 5G nowadays, but if you scratch the surface, if you go deeper, you will understand very easily and very fast that Industry 4.0 is about optimization, about cutting costs, about producing more, about understanding more about what you do. So we have many companies that are producing great stuff, but they are doing this in a very old school way. Just it's connected to actual production lines, but also all the operations on the factory floor, all the operations related to intralogistics, interlogistics, and so on. We have one great customer right now. They are having a very specific issue. They are producing a lot of made of steel components, which are very big.
Yeah.
They have a very huge campus and warehouse area. And imagine that their workers sometimes cannot find those goods for like 40 minutes per day. They are just losing time looking for stuff, which is like very big.
Yes.
So, but it's just the surface of the problem. So they have discussed with us how we could help them localize assets, goods, employees, vehicles on their campus. Like super simple. We are attaching beacons,
exactly.
Stuff like this, right? Like no breakthrough.
Yes, no brainer.
But on the second meeting, I said, like, you don't have a problem with localization of assets. You have an issue with processing orders. Because when your customer is calling customer support, no one knows where his products are, in which stage of the process, whether in production or in galvanizing or in like the storage area, loading area, shipping area. It was so mess that basically they had to internally make phone calls to the guy who was driving forklifts to figure out where the goods are actually, right? And I'm saying like, hey, beacons and localizing assets is one thing, but you need to first understand the flow of your orders. Not like nowadays where, right after production there's one single sheet of paper filled with details.
Yes.
They're sticking the paper to the stuff they produced right now, and this sheet of paper is like going through the whole process with the good. And then after a few weeks, they're just taking this like very full of notes of paper and then filling in the online system. So there's the gap.
It used to be like this, yes.
There's a gap of few weeks sometimes to investigate what happened with the stuff. With our solutions and our capabilities to integrate those solutions, just a matter of few clicks or even like online screen to find what happens with particular order and packages related to that order. Right, so it's way beyond. And then if the CEO of that company calculates the balance sheet, right? The calculation is simple. My employees are losing, let's say, 20% of time per year, every day, and in general per year, less like in doing simple operations, finding assets, finding stuff. Plus, customer experience is increasing a lot.
Nice. So basically, from your point of view, Industry 4.0 is mainly cutting costs, adding value to whatever there's like data, and you can very easily point what stage of production are those products, where are they exactly, etc. So optimization mostly, and you guys just simply help people and help organizations to get around and to just better understand their products and their services. Cool. Currently, there's a lot of talk about 5G as a technology that can change a lot in our lives. And what exactly can it change beyond the speed of downloading 4K videos onto our phone? Yes, lots of people are talking about 5G, but there's like the very fuzzy definition of 5G.
So personally, I learned about 5G when I was implementing some early stages of that. I learned about 5G when I was selling 5G solutions, and now I'm learning 5G when we are actually designing and introducing to the market our own 5G device. So this is the ugly box here, the spider that actually antenna was not screwed enough, which is actually having a support for actual 5G spectrum.
Why do it needs so many antennas?
Because of the MIMO, multiple input, multiple output signals to increase the bandwidth, actually, what you just mentioned. And 5G, from my perspective, is totally not about consumer business. Really? So it's not about faster YouTube. It's not about faster streaming more and so on. It's more about industrial use cases. It's more about haptic experience. So of course you will have the segments like gaming where you need haptic experience, probably in next age of gaming and so on. It's not only about these fancy use cases like remote surgery. You need haptic experience transmitted real time to the surgeon from the machine. But it's also about haptic experience that machines will have, and the interpretation, understanding of this haptic experience in real time. So it's not only how fast you transmit the data, but also how fast you can handle the data, calculate, do the operations on the data. We are having one of the partners with whom we are developing so-called cobots, collaborative robots.
What is collaborative robots?
Usual robots like for automotive market, where you see those videos from Volkswagen factories or so on. They are huge ass robots which are covered in a cage. And basically when the robot is working, there's no employee can enter the same cage
Because robot
while
can
it's
hurt.
on. Exactly. Cobots are different sort of robots which are smaller, more handy, but also they can actually collaborate with a human being.
Oh.
So you have like this arm that handles the microphone. You have a cobot that, for example, can pick and place stuff, or drill in, drill out, or screw in, screw out something. So basically, this arm is working together with a human being, which basically means that it needs almost in real time understand its surrounding. And let's say if it's drilling screws, I mean, if I'll put my hand there, there will be a problem. It should stop immediately. So it's not only about sensors, it's also about analyzing that data about the sensors at the edge. That's why we are having in our one-liner edge computing. Edge computing is very important there. But also you have certain limitations of such hardware that you cannot compute unlimited data. So you need to use 5G.
Cloud.
You need to use 5G to transmit this as fast as possible with the lowest possible latency, and then recalibrate stuff and make a meaningful decision to stop the process or to improve the process or to do certain stuff. So haptic experience, not only for human beings but also for machines, and also understanding that experience matters. And this is, from my perspective, the essence of what 5G brings.
Cool. Exciting things. Let's talk about one of your projects. What is Intelliventry?
So Intelliventry is basically a brand name for a set of devices that we are now designing and introducing to the market. Those devices are combining basically what we discussed. So 5G for transmitting the data, but also quite significant compute capacity to handle the data also locally. Because 5G, yes, it gives you a big throughput, and yes, it gives you a low latency, and yes, it is designed for massive number of devices. But
IoT.
not everyone knows that those are not coming in the same moment in time. So you can have either huge throughput or great latency or massive capacity for the number of devices, right? So still, especially for mission critical operations, you need to have certain intelligence at the edge. And we are delivering this combined with 5G. So we can think about this a hive as a hive of distributed intelligent devices that can seamlessly handle operations of given application.
Oh my God.
It's another line of buzzwords, but really for technicians, for guys that are now engineering applications for Industry 4.0, this makes sense.
Awesome. How do you look at the competition between US and China in terms of 5G implementation?
I love it.
You love it.
It's a great stuff that happens now.
Why?
We were a little bit behind.
We as Europe,
as US
Western?
as well,
okay.
as Western countries, because we got this. We've been
kicked.
No, we've been gently
pushed.
We've been gently put into the comfort zone that technology comes from China, right? So we gave a lot of freedom and also cash to develop those technologies there. Now, not only because of the business relationships or political relationships and so on, but also because of COVID, we start to understand that, hey, like global production cannot happen in just one single place. So what those big companies are doing nowadays is that, and this is for a fact known, they're moving certain capability of production from
outside
China to Europe, US, Australia, Korea, South Korea. And this is possible nowadays because basically the definition of cost of labor changes. Right? We finally have the systems for automated production. So it's not like it was before that manual labor matters and the cost of that manual labor matters that much. And companies are doing this stepwise. I think one of the examples that I heard already 4 years ago that the company Adidas for like manufacturing shoes. They started to create many distributed real-time factories that you could basically customize your shoe,
Yes.
and it was like
Sent to you
almost
no
3D
time.
printed or manufactured somewhere in Europe in a small factory that was working 24/7 without any human attendance, like attendance in manufacturing the shoe, of course. So maintenance of the robots is needed, right? But so this is a shift, and this shift was created because of competing between, like, we have one line, like competition between US and China, right? But it happens before, it will continue this way, and I think we should be happy about this competition.
So competition is good.
Competition is always good.
All right. Let's break away from reality for a while. What do you think the world will look like in 10 years with this technology that is just being developed? What do you think how your vision will change, or how you think your products, your services will change the world in the next 10 years?
If those projects will and how will change the world, we shall see. But this is a very good topic, and I was trying to make my mind around it. Real-time marketing, because of the death of Sean Connery, there was a lot of buzz around James Bond movies, right? And you can basically see what is a high tech from the perspective of 1997.
It was very,
Tomorrow
very
Never
vintage.
Dies. When you have this remotely controlled BMW.
Yes.
And now we have
Levers.
2020, and like autonomous cars are a reality. And it's how much?
Flying cars are reality.
As well, also. Right? So you have 20 years. So I don't think we should invent kind of measure, like James Bond measure, It took us 20 years from what James Bond showed us until now. But James Bond is not enough anymore.
The world is not enough.
The world is not enough. I was watching trailers of
No
of
Time
the
to Die?
New one. And like this technology there is not fancy anymore. And we are starting to look at Star Trek as guidance for technology. Before it was like too far away, but it's starting to be a reality, right?
Touch screens,
stuff like this, holograms devices. And stuff.
Exactly.
This is happening now. And because of this technological leap, to envision what will happen in 10 years, it's like, oh my gosh. Definitely what is worth of tracking is Starlink.
So Elon Musk,
Starlink. This will be even next year.
Okay. So this is next big thing, in your opinion?
In my opinion, Starlink.
Okay.
Now, another thing. So we are either looking very high or we are looking very deep. So looking high is Starlink. Looking high is
SpaceX.
solar power plants on the orbit. So now this project starting, I think it's driven by UK, where they are really actually planning to clean up this junk on the orbit. This will be step one.
Debris.
Step two would be to think about how we can create power plants on the orbit. And then when we think about going deep, underwater data centers.
Oh, you think they are like business reality? This is something that we should have because
they are already practical reality. Microsoft is doing this as of now.
Yeah, I've seen the images of sunk big, I don't know how to call it, a server under the water, and after a couple of months it was brought to the surface, and it was covered with all these living things. But the statement was it was working, right?
Yes, this is one thing, and the second thing is more about amount of energy that you need for cooling of the data centers. So big data centers are challenging in the sense of how we are providing energy there and how we are cooling those. If we think about renewable energy from the oceans, so the water flow can generate a lot of energy, and also the water can help cooling the system.
Okay.
So you are solving two problems
All once.
just putting the data center in the right place.
Mhm.
It creates another challenges because it's still in many areas no man's land. No man's land means no one's laws,
Yeah.
meaning data privacy and stuff. Right.
Mhm.
So it's interesting to observe
Uh-huh.
that. Another thing to look at is nanoelectronics, right? So we are having smaller and smaller devices. I think James Bond 2018 again, Spectre was.
Yes.
It was like intelligent blood
Yes.
in his veins. Like what? Seriously? Maybe we are too far from that optimization of the size of electronics, but we are close, definitely. I think it was last year when it got viral, where some of the Scandinavian companies were starting chipping the employees,
Yeah.
which was like simple solution to open doors and
Yes.
control the security and access, but definitely it's going this direction.
Mm-hmm.
So considering that it's almost exponentially grows this advancement, like 20 years back from James Bond and controlling BMW with his mobile phone to 10 years ahead, I think we can be surprised. I'm really terrified myself if I will catch up with all the new stuff that is coming.
Perfect. Wow. Yeah, I think that the future looks very bright, and if you were lucky to just see what will be there for us, and I think we'll be amazed how technology changed our lives, how we change under the technology, and what's there for us. I mean, like, should we go to reach the stars like Elon Musk is urging us to do so, or we should go deeper, maybe just explore the oceans. But yeah, technology is going to be cheaper, more affordable, and it's going to be everywhere. So IoT will be no brainer. Everybody will use something connected to something.
Yeah.
Everything will be connected to the large servers, etc. So I think this world will look amazingly different. But I totally agree with you that the world of James Bond will be nice vintage, print screen from the past, and the world will look much more like the Star Trek.
Yeah. And what I like about what happens is that we have now a different motivation. If you see 10 years ago when LTE was introduced, it helped to boost e-commerce. It helped to boost social media, like digital experience.
Yeah.
Being online, seeing everything and so on. Now the motivation is different. Now the motivation is, okay, how we can lower CO emissions, how we can increase our productivity, decreasing the not the cost of labor, but the effort of the labor. So there are discussions about how to produce automatically when like people considered as workers nowadays can start doing more meaningful, more kind of
creative things,
white collar type of work. Also, we talk more and think more about sustainability, circular economy, right? So this technology has a different purpose. If you look at your mobile device, if you will have a 4K, 2K, or I don't know 1090 pixels, you will not see the difference. So 5G is not for that. 5G is more for the stuff that we discussed, but the motivation, the purpose is different. I think we are more mindful, more mature as a society to use that technology, which is really awesome.
And this is the bright thing about our future. All right, thank you very much, Arnold. My today's guest was Arnold Wierzejski, CEO of SeeThings. By the way, have you seen the Blade Runner movie?
Yes, both.
Because this is like a very famous quote. I've seen things, and I just just clicking in mind right now when I was speaking this sentence to you. All right, so SeeThings it is your company. Once again, my name is Artur Kurasiński, and this is the podcast about the early adopters, technology, and change. Please like, share, leave a comment below. This will help us to get to the broader audience. Thank you very much, Arnold. And once again, thank you for all the viewers and subscribers and listeners, and see you next time.
Yeah, thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Boom.
Wow, stop. What?